The Panama Canal, a ribbon of water cutting through the isthmus, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific. For over a century, this engineering marvel has been a lifeline of global trade. Ships laden with goods traverse its locks, shortening voyages by thousands of miles. The canal facilitates the flow of everything from oil to electronics, grains to automobiles. Its impact on global commerce is undeniable. The canal's continued operation is vital to the economies of many nations. But today, this vital artery finds itself at the heart of a geopolitical tug-of-war. The United States and China, the world's two largest economies, are increasingly vying for influence over this crucial waterway. This struggle has far-reaching implications, not just for Panama but for the entire world. It is a story of economic interests, military strategy, and the delicate balance of power in the 21st century. The United States has a long and complicated history with the Panama Canal. It was American ingenuity and muscle that carved the waterway out of the jungle in the early 20th century. For decades, the canal remained under U.S. control, a symbol of American power and a strategic asset. Today, the U.S. no longer directly controls the canal. However, its importance to America remains paramount. A significant portion of U.S. trade, particularly with Asia, passes through the Panama Canal. The canal also holds immense strategic value for the U.S. military, allowing for rapid naval deployments between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Recent years have seen growing unease in Washington about the security and control of this vital waterway. The rise of China and its growing influence in the region have not gone unnoticed. The U.S. has voiced concerns over what it sees as exorbitant tolls levied on American ships using the canal. There is also suspicion about China's intentions and its growing economic footprint in Panama. China's rise as an economic powerhouse has been accompanied by a thirst for resources and a desire to secure its trade routes. The Panama Canal, a key choke point in global shipping, has naturally attracted Beijing's attention. Chinese companies, often with the backing of the state, have made significant investments in Panama in recent years. These investments span infrastructure projects, port facilities, and logistics hubs. One company in particular has come to symbolize China's growing influence in Panama: CK Hutchison Holdings. This Hong Kong-based conglomerate, with close ties to the Chinese government, has been awarded contracts to manage key port terminals on both the Atlantic and Pacific sides of the canal. This has raised eyebrows in Washington, with some seeing it as a deliberate strategy by China to gain leverage over the waterway. The U.S. views China's growing presence in Panama through a lens of suspicion. It fears that Beijing could use its influence to disrupt the free flow of goods or even potentially threaten U.S. national security interests. The Panama Canal has become a focal point in the escalating rivalry between the United States and China. The U.S., wary of losing its grip on this strategic waterway, is seeking to reassert its influence. China, eager to secure its growing economic interests, is pushing back. This rivalry is playing out on multiple fronts. Diplomatically, the U.S. has been pressuring Panama to limit Chinese involvement in the canal's operations. Militarily, the U.S. Southern Command has been tasked with reassessing its posture in the region and developing contingency plans to safeguard the canal's security. Economically, the U.S. has imposed tariffs on Chinese goods passing through the canal, aiming to increase the cost of Chinese trade and bolster American competitiveness. These actions have not gone unnoticed in Beijing. China has accused the U.S. of hypocrisy, pointing out that it was the U.S. that once controlled the canal for its own strategic benefit. The stage is set for a protracted geopolitical struggle over the Panama Canal, one with far-reaching implications for global trade and security. BlackRock's Gambit, a corporate countermove. In a move that sent shockwaves through the geopolitical landscape, American investment giant BlackRock acquired CK Hutchison Holdings' stake in the strategically vital Balboa and Cristobal ports in March 2025. This $22.8 billion deal, which also included 43 ports in 23 other countries, significantly diminished China's control over this key part of the Panama Canal's infrastructure. The move was widely seen as a strategic countermeasure by the U.S. to curb China's growing influence in the region. The U.S. president hailed the deal as a victory, proclaiming that America was reclaiming its strategic assets. However, the move was met with a frosty reception in Beijing. Chinese officials accused the U.S. of using BlackRock as a proxy to further its geopolitical goals. They launched an investigation into the deal, citing concerns over national security and potential antitrust violations. The BlackRock deal underscores the high stakes involved in the battle for control of the Panama Canal. It also highlights the growing role of multinational corporations in this geopolitical chess match. Panama's tightrope walk. Caught in the middle of this geopolitical tug-of-war is Panama itself. The small Central American nation, fiercely proud of its independence and sovereignty, is determined to chart its own course. Panama's government has repeatedly asserted its sole right to manage and operate the canal, rejecting any suggestion of foreign interference. However, Panama's economic reality presents a complex challenge. Panama's economy is heavily reliant on the canal's revenues. The U.S. remains Panama's largest trading partner and a major source of foreign investment. This economic dependence on the U.S. limits Panama's ability to act independently on the world stage. Panama is walking a tightrope, attempting to balance its economic interests with its desire to maintain its sovereignty. It is a delicate balancing act, one that will require skillful diplomacy and a pragmatic approach. Ripples in the global pond. The struggle for control of the Panama Canal has implications that extend far beyond the shores of Central America. The canal is a vital artery in the global supply chain. Any disruption to its operation, whether due to political tensions or military conflict, would have a ripple effect across the world economy. Businesses rely on the canal for the timely and efficient transportation of goods. Consumers feel the impact of disruptions through higher prices and product shortages. The uncertainty surrounding the canal's future is already causing jitters in the global marketplace. Shipping companies are exploring alternative routes while businesses are reassessing their supply chains. The stakes are high, and the world is watching closely as the U.S. and China engage in this high-stakes geopolitical game. The canal's uncertain future. The Panama Canal, once a symbol of human ingenuity and international cooperation, now finds itself at the center of a geopolitical storm. The outcome of this struggle for control is uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the stakes are high. The canal's fate will have profound implications for the global economy, the balance of power in the Americas, and the future of U.S. China relations. As the world watches, the question remains: will the canal continue to be a conduit for global trade and cooperation, or will it become another flashpoint in a new era of great power competition? Only time will tell. As we ponder the uncertain future of the Panama Canal, it's crucial to consider the broader geopolitical implications. The canal's strategic importance cannot be overstated. It's not just a shortcut for ships, it's a vital artery in the lifeblood of global commerce. If control of the canal were to shift, it could dramatically alter the balance of power. Imagine a scenario where China gains a significant influence over this critical waterway. This could lead to a realignment of global trade routes, with nations potentially seeking alternative pathways to avoid geopolitical entanglements. Already, countries are eyeing the potential of the Arctic routes, which are becoming more navigable due to climate change. The Northern Sea Route, for example, could reduce travel time between Europe and Asia by nearly 20 days compared to the Panama Canal. However, this route poses its own set of challenges, from harsh weather conditions to environmental concerns. Meanwhile, other nations like Nicaragua have floated the idea of constructing their own canal, though such projects are fraught with financial and environmental obstacles. Still, the mere discussion of these alternatives underscores the canal's significance. In the end, the Panama Canal's fate will ripple across the globe, influencing trade policies, economic strategies, and even military postures. As nations grapple with these shifting dynamics, one thing is certain: the world of tomorrow may navigate very different waters than the world of today.